Good morning, Facebook. It is another episode of Leveling Up with Brigham Blackham. We are going to dive deep today on the real strategy that's going to make a difference with your social media, social impact. We've got the real life of a social butterfly. That's the topic of today. We're going to be going really deep with my good friend Jared Brenchley. He has built an amazing following on social media because of this strategy, and he's going to give you some of the basic level real strategies and then a few teasers on how to do this at such a high level like what he's doing. I'm so grateful to have him on the line. We've got a ton of other people from my real estate community. So grateful for them to be on here today. We love to support each other, and we love to create value. So Jared, we're going to dive straight in. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and your understanding of social media, because you're just crushing it right now.
Sure. So 6 years ago, real estate wasn't even a word that would mention out of my mouth, like, ever. So I worked at Walmart for 12 years, actually.
Mhm.
And I was a Walmart manager, working 60, 70 hours a week on average salary. So I was blessed to work as much as they wanted me to.
Yeah.
So when my wife got pregnant with her third child, that's when a paradigm shift happened. That's when I knew something had to change. I remembered all the times of the stuff I missed my first two kids, because there was a good 8-year gap between number two and number three kid.
Yeah.
And so I it was a good reflection time, and to realize that something had to change. I didn't know what, but something had to change. And so when my friend invited me to come down to a real estate workshop, I was 100% going to blow him off. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to do in my life. Cause first of all, real estate, I didn't have perfect credit, nor did I have $1 million in the bank. So I can't do real estate. I don't want to get a license. I don't want to do any of that stuff. My wife heard him halfway through as he was talking about it. So she wanted to go, which meant this guy had to go. So we went, and the guy in the front of this room, he did something absolutely the most annoying. He kept on, and he didn't just do it once. It was through the entire presentation or the entire workshop. He kept on doing this thing, and it just drove me bonkers. And he just kept on, and the thing he was doing is he was making sense. And it was just like, dude, I'm like in a path, man. Now you're making it possible for me to do these other hard things that can give me the life that I always dreamt. And so it was annoying and exciting at the same time, because I realized that, sure, if you have perfect credit, $1 million in the bank, you can do. Was it easier? 100%. Sure. Is that the only way to do it? No, not at all. I've never used my credit in any transaction I've ever done. And I could probably count on one hand how many times I've used my own money in the transactions. So after that, that's what changed everything. My wife and I, we got started. We got connected with the community and just started to learn, ask questions, network as much as humanly possible. And 6 months later, we got on our first transaction. Then we did a bunch of flips. And at that point in time, it was like, okay, now let's so that's when I was able to quit my job. So it took me about a year to quit my job. And that first year we did about 3 transactions. That was it. But that was we got a fourplex and two flips, and there's more money in the bank than it would take me a couple of years to work in Walmart. And that was a whole imposter syndrome galore, I tell you what. But yeah, so that's how I started. And then I got into wholesaling, and then short-term rentals. And then now I'm still doing wholesaling now, and I love wholesaling. That's my favorite that's my favorite massive income strategy in real estate. For those who don't know, I mean, it's basically a fix and flip, but shorter term, like 2 weeks is the best way to think of it in one sentence description. But yeah, absolutely. So that's how I got started. I don't know if that was, what was your question again? I just went on a tangent.
Oh, that's great. Your origin story. That was perfect.
Okay, that's what it was.
So tell us, so you've been sharing some ideas how you got into real estate.
Mhm.
I feel like it was about 2 years ago that you really started getting a ton of traction on social media. Can you tell us a little bit how you went from where you were as a Walmart employee to now you're actually got over 6,000 followers on Facebook, and you've got literally hundreds of thousands of views across multiple platforms.
Millions.
Millions now. Fantastic. Millions of views.
I have several videos that went over 1 million.
That's so cool. So tell us, how'd you do that?
So when I first started, it was just, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 6,000 followers isn't really a ton,
Right.
but when I started, it was like a couple hundred, and I've generated massive amounts of income from that short following. So, I mean, when you add up all of my socials, if put it all together, it's like 12,000. Well, actually, now not thinking about it, it's more than that. But regardless, um, I just was consistent in posting content, and everyone, it for me, if I can't giggle, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I do tend to lean towards if I can make something funny, then that's what I want to do. Right. And you don't have to be funny to be successful or anything like that at all. But it's a key point for that would be whatever you're good at. If you're stone faced, just like very blamed or whatever, but you're given killer information, you're gonna find a following eventually, right? So it's just throwing stuff out there consistently. I got mentors and people to help me out to monetize, because I know people that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, and like I've spoken to them like million plus, and they make nothing from their following, nothing. And so when you just from my 6,000 followers on Facebook, um, I'm not going to say the exact amount, but I made quite a bit of money last year by generating leads for my business, by getting people intrigued where they want to partner with me. So we do joint ventures, things like that. So yeah, I mean, that was the part of it was seeking people that were doing better than what I was doing, and just being consistent. Like, you don't have to be perfect.
Mhm.
My my motto is good enough is good enough. So I think perfectionism is what stops people. Honestly, that's probably one of the biggest things that stop people from being successful is they want to have something perfect.
Yeah.
Because you can look at your first post and like look at the people that are very successful and in social media specifically, and you look at their first posts and it's terrible. It's terrible. But if that person would have waited till he got the perfect post and the perfect, how we communicated and everything like that, then it would have took him another 5 more years and he would have got the same number of views as that very first one because he didn't have any following, didn't have any traction behind it. So it doesn't help you to be perfect. It helps you to take action.
Good enough is good enough.
Mhm.
That's a great motto. I love that. So Jared, as you started diving into doing reels, because I mean you do multiple every single day. Can
Yeah,
you talk? I know we've
right.
talked a little bit about your batch strategy. You're like, hey, just do a ton at the same time. Can you talk to us a little bit why you do it that way rather than like, oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna just do it right now. Have an idea. I'm gonna just do it right now. Tell us a little bit how you batch your content and just make it.
Um, so I have in my calendar. There there's been times where I'll go through like on a Sunday and just make a bunch, but in reality, because it doesn't take me very long to make them, like I just have block in, from 6 to 6:30. I can make 3 or 4 in that time frame, and just throw them out.
Yeah.
So that's that's what I. And the thing is, like, sure, I can do three in or 3 or 4 in 30 minutes, but at first it would take me 30 minutes to even think of doing one. So it just takes time and practice. The more you do things, the more it's going to be. So you're not going to be doing multiples at first, right? Especially if you're doing it like once a day or something like that. um, it might be easier just to pick a day and get 4 hours and make the week's worth of content, which I've done that before, and then you're good to go. So it kind of depends on on your strategy and what type of content you're doing.
Yeah.
So I try to mix it from tips and strategies into a lot of just funny meme type posts. Whether I'm like mouthing something funny, and I always relate it back to my industry. So it's not just funny, but I like to have it, and most of the time they're not funny, but I try to be at least humorous or entertaining the very least, as far as like, but it's back to my industry that I'm working in.
Yeah. It seems like you'll take an idea and you're like, oh, how can I real estate that?
Yes.
How can I make this connect to real estate?
Mhm.
Bring it back to the industry. It keeps you top of mind. Now, we learned that in one of
Yeah.
our classes that if we're top of mind with people, it's when they have that need that they'll think of you. So, what are some of the other ways you've been able to keep top of mind with people?
Other than being consistent, like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Stories is a good thing to be constantly out there. I use story to really, because here's the thing. You may have a million followers. When you create a post, whether that's TikTok, social media, or Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just because you made a post doesn't mean that guaranteed every follower is going to see that post. It's not even show up on their feed.
Yeah.
They're most like you make a post, maybe 100 people, and you have thousands of followers, and maybe 100 people see it. Like, well, where's the other thousands? What's going on here? So Facebook they want people to stay in the app as long as possible. And so if your post is not getting a lot of engagement, then it doesn't show it to all of your friends. So maybe like 5 or 10 or whatever. So it does kind of like it tests out to some of your consistent followers. And then if that starts to get some engagement, then it really starts to explode and it expands. And so you can do a lot of cool things by asking questions just to increase your engagement. And those questions can be anything and I love like even the toilet paper roll. What's the right way? The front side or the back side. You'll get like hundreds of people commenting and fighting in the comments, and it's awesome. So creating engaging content, whether that has to be exactly in your niche, which is ideal, but doesn't have to be, because if you have engaging content, those other posts you're creating will be showed up more of their feed too. So someone engages with your content, Facebook is more likely to push your other posts in front of them to see if you like this. Oh, you like stuff from this creator? Do you like this? Do you like this? And so being engaging and having people just comment and stuff, and also being consistent on posting in groups. That is huge. I can talk a whole ton about groups because a lot of people are like, well, man, I got like 300 followers. I can't, what do I do? I can't, there's no leads there. I already there's my grandma, grandpa's there, and my aunt and my cousins, and that's all I got. Like, okay, great. How about, would you like to, if I can click my finger and give you 30,000 followers today, Bergen, would you like that? Would that be helpful, you think? If I can just get 30,000 done.
Yes.
Great. Awesome. Go to a Facebook group that has 30,000 members, post in there. Same thing.
Done. Yeah.
Done. And so you're expanding your reach. That's how I know you're talking about top of mind, but this is still in the same context. It's kind of more, reaching out, but you can join groups that you're interested in, and plus in your niche if you're trying to grow a business in it. So I joined a ton of real estate investing groups in Utah and just real estate investing groups in general. And then let's just say, like, if you're a hockey fan or whatever it is, right? So you join those groups and you start getting engagement, and then people start following you, and then it opens the door for people to really get to know you and to know your message and to know what you're all about and what your business is and all that stuff. So you don't want to sound salesy or preachy. It's just like, hey, here's this thing. And then, because here's the thing, like I can post on a message, or I can make a post and like, I just did this. I'm so excited. I will get more people to engage in that and ask me how I'm doing that, or they want to be part of my business by just a curiosity post. Like, hey, I just closed my 15th short-term rental without using my money. It's amazing. And if that's all I put, I didn't say, hey, message me. And I do that sometimes, but I'm very strategic when I do that. When I actually ask, like, hey, here's the link. Let's work together. But for the most part, it's just going to be an intrigue post, and then people reach out like, dude, like, what are you doing, man? I want to learn some of this stuff. Or like, hey, my cousin has a house that she needs to sell. If I give you the address, can we work together? Like, yeah, sure, absolutely, man. So when they're reaching out to you and you're not out to them, it becomes the sales process, whatever you're selling, whatever you're, whether it's joint ventures, education, whatever it is, it becomes a lot easier when they're coming to you asking about your pet hair salon, or whatever it is, right? And so being consistent and posting on groups that you're interested in and also in your niche, in a business standpoint, will dramatically keep you in top of mind. And there's something what I call farming. And I don't know if you want to interrupt me, go ahead. I feel like I'm just going on tangents, but something I call farming, and this is in Facebook groups. Okay. So when you get an engaging post, when I post something in a group, it goes in the top of the feed. So if anyone clicks on that, it goes right on top. And every time someone comments, so we have the feed, right? And there's just a bunch of posts everywhere else. And if I'm posting places that has 200,000 followers or members in the group, or 30,000 or whatever it is, there's a lot of posts that are getting created in that group. It's like, how do you stand it? How do you make sure people are seeing yours? Cause like, man, I made a post and now I'm buried by 20,000 other posts if you're creating an engaging post, so whatever it may be, you're asking a question, you're doing an intrigue thing. So then people will comment every time there's a comment, because at the end of the day, kind of goes lower, lower, lower. There's a comment goes right on top. So any comment, whether it's through you or through someone else, goes right on top. And so when I get a really engaging post, and if people are posting or commenting on it, I don't respond to them right away. I don't let it all. So as the day goes on, or as the week goes on, it keeps on getting pop, and then that means it's going to be on more people's feeds. So even if they don't go into that page, if they're a member of that group, it'll show in their feed more often, and they're seeing, oh man, this got 50 comments on it. It's crazy. When people stop commenting on it, that's when I go. So if there's like 10 comments, just an example, I think usually there's more in this type of scenario, but I will go back and I will respond to 2 or 3, and then I'll stop. So then it goes right back up. And then more, they'll show more, and then it'll just start getting more and more and more. So I'll just do, okay, great. And then the day after, when it slows down, I'll comment to a couple more. It goes on top of the feed. And so I am just that one post, people are seeing it like hundreds of times. It's like everywhere. And so that's what I call farming. It's just utilizing the algorithms to your benefit. And this is true even in your own post too. You can still do the same way. You're just popping in there and is commenting on something so to keep the momentum going. So one post you can farm for weeks, and obviously hopefully you're doing more posts than just that one. But as far as getting in front of people, like when you're like, oh hey, my pet shop, it has blah 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 blah, and people are commenting on it, and then you can make that continue momentum behind it. And when people start seeing hundreds or 50 plus comments in there, they're gonna look, oh, what, this is engaging, people are liking it. And so it starts to really build momentum. So you can get one post, massive number of views, massive number of interaction, and everyone is interacting or more likely to see your other content. So yeah, that's farming, consistent. Using Facebook groups is a great way that I try to stay at top of mind.
I think that's key. Now, one of the other elements that you brought up earlier that I want to bring back up when you're doing your reels is you're not just doing it for business. This was something that was key. You brought up kind of to the side, but sometimes you'll do a question that doesn't have to do with business, that's just engaging. And then sometimes you'll have a joke that kind of applies to real estate, but it's really just a funny joke. How do you take your engaging posts and monetize them, actually get people to say, hey, here's a newsletter that you can opt into so you can get on my buyers list, or here's a way that we could go to that next level? What are ways that you actually create that first exposure to what you do?
So as I'm creating engagement, as I'm creating more followers through, so sometimes I'll do a harvest post. So a harvest post is where, and you have to be careful with this one. Like you don't want to be over, and I know people are going to have different opinions on this, but this has just been successful for me. So I will talk about a win and not trying to be too boasty about it, but like, hey man, this flip that I'm doing that we're going to close in the 26th is the biggest yet. I'm going to make like $98,000 on this flip. I'm so excited. This is amazing. And I didn't use any of my own money or my credit. I love this. This is so much better than working at Walmart. By the way, if you guys ever thought about getting real estate or want to have a chat about it, here's this link. We can schedule a 9-minute conversation. And that's what I call. So that is more like a salesy.
Yeah.
It's my harvest post. Okay. So that's where, so people that have been following me, they've been getting intrigued. They're getting stuff in there. Right. And then it's like, oh, okay, great. I remember making one post and I probably got, and it was something just like what I just said. I probably got at least 20 to 30 appointments, just from that one post.
Oh.
Right. So, again, you have to be careful with that type of stuff as far as like being straight up, hey, here's a link, because you can get really spammy and everyone's like, hey, here's a link. Okay, there's this. Yeah. I know what Jared's doing. But in between the harvest posts, which I'll put out every couple of weeks, once a month, something like that. So not that consistent as far as those harvest posts, but I'll still do other posts like that when I'm talking about a win or an intrigue post. And a lot of times people will reach out to me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, how do I find out more? Okay, here's this thing. We can just schedule time. We'll talk about it. And so they'll usually reach out to me, or for example, I'll do a post like, hey, what's holding everyone back on real estate investing? How can I, you know, or just like what's stopping you from getting your next creative financing deal? And then they'll put their questions on it, and then they'll take it to the DMs and we'll have a conversation. It's just like, oh, maybe it's funds. Maybe it's I don't know how to find creative financing deals. I don't know how to negotiate those deals. And so I start talking like, why do they even want seller financing deals? Why what would that do for you? And so we have those conversations, then it usually leads to, face-to-face conversation, whether mostly on Zoom. And then we go from there. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
that
but that's how
totally does. So basically, if I can conceptualize this, you have value posts, maybe I'm going to throw out a random number, 95% of the time. 5% of the time you have a harvest post, maybe every 2-3 weeks you'll throw one of those out there, so that the people that you've been engaging and creating tons and tons and tons of value for, like, oh, you've helped me in this and this and this, you made me laugh, you made me cry, made me think. And then like, oh, this is something that would interest me. I would like to have a 9-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Then you collect those emails and you start working through those leads, and it could be through the direct messenger, talking to them that way, or if they give you an email, you add them to the email list, whatever it was that you promised them in that harvest post.
Yeah.
And then you just create value for them. And it sounds like the way that you've been able to monetize this the best is you have deals that are constantly coming in, and you're letting just people know, this is what I'm doing. If you want to do it too, come along. But if not, the train's left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be massively successful to do that strategy either. You're just documenting what you're doing in your business.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was not crushing. I wasn't doing multiple deals a week. I wasn't doing any of that. That wasn't a thing, But what you can do, if someone's like just starting out and just you as a pet, whatever it may be, right? So let's just say you have a pet business and no one's really, or you're looking to get it started, your pet business, whatever, pet haircutting. You can just start posting things like, oh, great. Hey, I just bought this cool machine that cut out this pet's hair. I'm so excited. Or if you're real estate, like, hey guys, I haven't done a deal yet. I'm just learning. I just learned X, Y, and Z. This is amazing. So you can start putting those type of posts out there as in not so much like bragging or like, hey guys, you want to learn with me? Especially when you first begin, you don't really want to do a ton of harvest posts. You need to build a lot of value, and people will naturally start to talk. You can still take it to the DMs. You can do all that stuff, and that's totally fine. You should harvest that way. But as far as like a massive harvest post, I don't expect that right away. But creating, just like document what you're doing. So real estate, like, hey, take a picture of yourself in front of a computer, analyzing 5 more deals. This is so exciting. And like, hey, I just learned how to pay off my house in 7 years. Or, hey, cool, I'm learning about X, Y, and Z. I just learned this. So you can start creating value posts without having to be the expert.
Yeah.
You can become in fact, people that are just starting out is literally more relatable than an expert that's been doing it for years. So if I'm seeing, Brigham, as you're out there and maybe you just started and you're taking action and you're talking, oh, I'm going with my realtor to check out this property. What do you guys think of this thing? If I ever pick this up as a flip, what would you guys do to it? And you're asking questions, you're creating engagement. And so like, oh, wow, he's actually doing it. And sometimes when you see people and like, they're so far there, or, they're in the hundreds of deals and you're like, man, I wish I can get my first. It's almost intimidating to say like, hey man, I would like to learn that too. Or like, I have a deal, but I don't know if you even have time even to chat with me. Now, so a lot of times that can intimidate. So being newer in whatever industry you're in can actually be an asset, because you're more relatable and more easier to talk to. And it's just like, you're not the expert. You don't need to be. It's like, yeah, well, let me plug you into the same system where I learned. Or yeah, I'm just learning. I'm just a student, but let's go learn together. We can JV and stuff. Who knows? Right. It's really cool what you can do. It's just a matter of documenting what you're doing, being consistent at it. And I just learned statements is phenomenal for getting intrigue.
Love that. One of the things I thought was really valuable, when you are a beginner, be a beginner.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say, I am not an expert yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm a shared expert. Here's something that an expert shared with me. I learned this.
Mm-hmm.
That's just creating relatability. I think that was a great
Right.
point. Thank you so much. Now, let's get into maybe some nitty gritty things with a reel. How do you choose your content for your reel, and how do you know what's going to be helpful and what's not when you're creating reels? Because I know you've probably done a couple thousand reels, not a couple
Yeah.
hundred,
Yeah.
and some have been winners, some have probably
Mhm.
not seen very many views, and
Most are trash.
yeah, you're like, that's just how
Yeah.
it goes. So
Yeah.
how did you find the winners?
Uh, in on reels, I am the strategy of let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Nice.
And you never know which one's going to take off. You really have no idea. I mean, I've only had a couple that's been the hit over the million mark. I've had a couple of 100,000s, but most, if you go through it, like most is like 200 views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not a ton. You know, I got a bunch in the thousands and tens of thousands, but the vast majority, when I put out so much content, the vast majority is a couple hundred, and that's it.
Mm.
So it's just being consistent and throwing out there. You're not going to know exactly what's going to be a banger. Now here's the thing: if you keep on doing the same thing and like all of those type of posts are getting 5 views or whatever, then it's like, okay, maybe I can tweak this. You know, always try to, even though like I said, throw things at the wall, but you need to be conscious of what's actually getting views or getting engagement or whatever it is. Like, oh yeah, this post that got me like 5 followers, but even though it only has 500 views, that's actually really good. That's very potent for the number of views, how many followers I got. I need to do more posts like that. You know, I can recreate stuff like that. And the thing is, like, one of my mentors that taught me a lot about, and this is, I never actually met this person, but just through social media. Like, so Fraser Brooks, he talks about, because people can seem overwhelming. Like they look at me like, oh man, I can't do 3 wheels. Like you're doing 3 a day, sometimes more. Like that, there's no. It's so out there. Like I don't necessarily recommend people to make that many. And I know people that are more successful than me, and they're literally posting once a week, and that's it. But they built their reputation, they built their brand, they did the work to get to that point. So there's not necessarily. Oh yeah, sorry, so that's what I was going for. Yeah, so Fraser, what he talks about, like if you're doing like one post a day, like one reel a day, for example, a lot of times you don't need to recreate new things. If you find something that's a banger, yeah, you need to save that, put it in a different file, and then once a month you can repost that same one.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing, like a comedian, they have a set, right? They spend hours and hours and weeks and months and years
Yeah.
getting that 10 minutes of comedy. They spend that much time on that 10 minutes. If they would have to get a new 10 minutes every time they're in front of someone, it wouldn't be as good. Instead of them just getting new content for the same people, he just shows that same content to different people.
Super good.
So you can literally like make 30 bangers, maybe over 90 days or whatever. So 30 reels that are really, really good, that are actually getting somewhat traction. And then you can switch them out. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. And then you can just repost it.
Yeah.
And I have not had anyone like, didn't you post this last month? And because I will repost stuff. Not a ton nowadays, but like when I'm busy and I have no time to even give it 30 minutes, I'll just like go through my vault and I'll throw older stuff out. So I'm still consistent, I'm still doing stuff. But yeah, someone can literally just do 30 posts and they have enough content for the whole year. Done.
That's huge. And I think that takes a little bit of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Something that I keep hearing, I've been going through a mindful marketing class by Dr. Greg Kimball, and he talks about document, don't create.
Mm.
Document, don't create. That's something you brought up too. It's
Yep.
you just recognizing I am doing my business right now. How do I maybe have a camera on and talk about what I'm doing? And
Boom.
bringing people the behind the scenes experience of what it's like to be a successful wholesaler or to be a successful short-term rental host. Um, when you are creating content, I know in the beginning it feels so overwhelming. It really does. What would your suggestion be for a brand new person, never made a reel before, to be able to do their first reel and their first reel consistently, like one a day? How do you help them get into that pattern of I can do this?
Um, if someone hasn't made content, so Coach Fryer, he talks about getting your pillars.
Mm.
So you want to know what is your message? Like, what do you really want to talk about? Um, and this is really good for people that don't know what to post. Um, is writing in a nutshell, and I'm going to butcher this, but he goes through this whole process when you're 25 and you knock it down. But basically, you're going to find 5 things that you are passionate about: family, religion. Maybe that was like for me, it's real estate. Could be mentorship. Could be motivational, like or mindset type of stuff. Whatever it may be, nail down what those 5 things are, and then 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, you're going to post one thing about your family. The next day, you're going to do one thing about real estate, your business. Then I think, and so you can just kind of go through that to find what your voice is, and that makes it easier to create that content when it's like, oh yeah, I'm so grateful for my husband. He did blah 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 for me. Done. Doesn't have to be fancy. You don't got to be like every message, every post doesn't have to be about your niche if you don't want it to be. But people can get to know you for the real person you are and what you stand for. So if someone's really having a hard time, even like I don't like, let's just say it's motivational. There's an app that I'm not affiliated with, but CapCut, the app called CapCut. I use that for most of my Reels creations. CapCut has literally, you can throw in, it has AI. It's really, really cool recently too. So they implemented a bunch of AI stuff. You can just upload, like, let's just say one of your pillars family. You can upload 15 pictures of your kids, and then it'll do a reel for you in a matter of seconds of like with music, and it's changing the pictures and and you can tweak and edit and all that stuff. So if it's like I don't have any time, I don't know what to do, you can, okay, great, family. Well, I don't know. Again, I mean, my husband's a dick, and my da, 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 da. And so maybe you're not feeling it, but like, man, I got a ton of pictures of my kids. I'm gonna throw that, and then bam, you created the reel in like 10 seconds. So even CapCut has like the help you. It can like AI generative scripts, and it does teleprompter on your phone, so you can be like reading it as you're doing stuff. So you can using AI is very helpful for people that don't know how to start. And also they have templates, and there's other apps that probably do similar things too. So pick your poison, doesn't matter. But there's templates. I can just put in and go into templates and say motivation. Okay, great. You need to add 10 pictures or this template, this music, this message, and then you can add 10 pictures of yourself, or just like Google some pictures or whatever. It doesn't matter. So using things that have already been created, and even using AI to kind of help you out a little bit, even if you're not familiar with it, you just you're literally just pushing a button, and you're done. So I think that's probably I would recommend someone to use technology to their advantage. Get CapCut, get apps similar to that, and this become and I make a ton of money in toilet time. I tell you what, man, when I'm sitting down, I what are we doing when we're sitting down anyways? We're just like scrolling, we're just doing whatever. Dude, make a reel real fast. Open the app, and while you're doing your business, do your business. If someone has
That's a reel right there. While you're doing your business, do your business.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like massive. It could be a 6 second thing. That's it.
Damn.
So literally, like, you can just be sitting down, and for people, it irritates me to no end. People can be like, "Oh, well, I don't have any time to do this." Like, the hell, you don't. Come on, you have time. So you do not use the restroom? Are you like are you like a cone head that doesn't have, you can't use that? Come on, really? You have 30. You're there for like 3 or 4 minutes. Some of us 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm not going to judge you, but freaking A, like, open the app. You can create a reel in 5 minutes. If you're just going through a template, you're like picture, done, done. That could be your time. There's no excuse why no one really can't do it. It's the perfectionism what really kills people,
Yeah.
and the fear of judgment what stops people too. So I have, so I'll make posts, and in my story specifically, my first story of the day, and some people don't like it, but my level of me not caring what someone else thinks of that is people will be shocked how little I give a crap. So as far as their opinion on anything that I'm doing. So like some people get so like, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to think? Dude, they're not. they're not buying they're not engaging with your business anyways. So what do you care if you offend someone? You're gonna offend. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
It's when they're when you're going to offend someone, and you could be doing nothing but positive posts. You could do nothing. Like I literally, like I did a post, and I remember this, and it was all about, winners are they're fearful of losing, so they're constantly thinking that they're losing, and that's to keep on improving themselves and doing better. And I remember this guy, he made a very negative comment. Well, that's why, and it was just very, like, victim mindset and BS. And so, like, I mean, I did a very positive, good post, and to help motivate people. And this dude was taking the win out, or trying to take the win out of me. By the way, because those haters will happen eventually. The very beginning, you probably won't. It's not.
Yeah.
Don't fear that, but never waste a good hater.
Ooh, that's such a good line.
Don't
Never
waste a
waste a
good
good hater. So
No, it's
what did you
phenomenal.
do with that? Go ahead.
Okay, so when haters start commenting, they're not usually a short comment.
Hmm.
Okay. They're usually they're thinking it out, like, oh man, especially if you start engaging with them. I don't necessarily recommend this. This can be an energy suction if so you gotta monitor yourself. You gotta, hold back if so I with caution. So they're on, for example, a reel.
Yeah.
Facebook measures the engagement by the likes, comments, of course, also the number of views and how long someone's in it. And someone's commenting on a reel, that reel is playing the entire time that they're texting. It is, that hater is doing more for your engagement than than your own mom that likes every single post you ever make, because they're on it for so long. And then I love poking the bear, like, too much. I get this from my grandpa. Like, he would see people arguing, and then he'd go on one side, and then when that side starts to win, he'll, like, jump on the other. Well, actually, I think you have a point, and he'll just start stirring the pot. So, and I'll start poking the bear, and I can see them getting so mad. It's just, like, so fuming, and I'm not like, hey, I'm not, like, negative or anything. I'm usually like kill them with kindness, and they freaking hate that, like, to no end. When you're so hateful and you just like, that stupid bald guy, he is just teaching people bad things, and he's going to destroy the world. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, it's okay. I'll destroy my world. Don't worry. Your world will be fine. I got love you, buddy. And, like, he loves me. And so you get this back and forth, and I'm just giggling the whole time. That's my toilet time. I'm, like, doing that stuff because it's hilarious. And so, but they're getting back in there. They're making so many interactions with the post, and it's just, like, funny. And by the time to slow down, I'm like, hey, by the way, thanks for so much engagement. Like, since we started talking, my views went up by almost 1,000, dude. Thank you. I really appreciate your help. I'm making more people able to see this post they hate so much. Ooh, and either they'll talking more, which is like, or they'll eventually stop. But yeah, it's, you have to be very careful though, because if you find yourself actually, that dude, because sometimes they'll say stuff that like get you. So I don't necessarily recommend people poke the bear. You got to have the right mindset, and if you feel that it is taking energy or time, more time than it should, than it would a regular comment, then you probably should just leave it alone. But
That's a good point. But it's so unique that even a bad comment or bad engagement actually is eyeballs on your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you become top of mind for them, and maybe they're going to start telling other people, like, oh, you shouldn't watch this guy's post. Like, wait, I shouldn't want, okay, let me see.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to go check it out.
100%. When someone starts trash talking someone else on social media, people will go to their page and start looking at their stuff and, like, oh, actually this guy makes sense. Or this guy, oh yeah, you're right, he's a jerk, or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's not a bad thing at all, ever.
I love it. And that reminds me of that little expression, if it bleeds, it leads. Sometimes we have comments that are cutting.
Yeah.
If we take it personally, man, that can hurt really bad. But if we think of it like what you just did, you did a complete reframe. Never waste a good hater.
No, yeah, don't waste them.
Great reframe, because he's actually helping your engagement. That's great.
Yeah. And you can be short too on your comments and back to him, like, dude, I love you, bud. And just stuff like that. And they'll get so mad. It's so much fun. I mean, and I obviously, like, I know you're not mad at me. Are you okay? And I'll not most times, like sincere, like, are you okay, man? Like, I get it, you don't like the post, but are you all right? And then it can then things get really get so mad. It's fun.
Are you okay? Oh man. And then I mean, I've seen actually people screenshot some of their worst comments and make a
Mhm.
reel from that. And like,
Right. That's your next
that's
comment.
actually another great repurposement of uh those experiences.
Well, you can, and that's once you start getting some traction, people are commenting on Facebook, or excuse me, on TikTok specifically. You can actually respond to a comment in a new TikTok. And but the thing is, it'll actually read, it'll have a link to the original video that you're commenting, that you're responding to that comment. So I'll have like the window of the comment. And so like on TikTok, you can actually farm a very successful and getting content from that one post that did get 100,000, because you're getting 100, 200, and suddenly one got 100,000, and another 100 comments. You can do that's 100, because they're asking questions. They're like, way to go. Like, oh man, hey, shout out to Billy Bob Thorne over here for saying that appreciates what I did. Awesome, see ya. And the people are seeing it. Oh, well, wait, what did you do? And they click on, they go back to the original video, and farming. And then they go back to the original video, and then they see that, and the videos start going up, and then they start showing to more people. It all cascades on itself. Uh, and with multiple platforms, I use the same content across the same platforms. Now, obviously, there's some other gurus would say that this don't do that, but it's better than not doing anything. But if you're making a reel for Facebook, one, you can actually connect your Facebook account with your Instagram account. So if you make one post you make a post on Facebook, it automatically posts it to your Instagram account. But there's plenty of other websites and programs you can do, which you create a post, put it in there, and then it sends it out to, and in your LinkedIn to it farms it out. If you don't want to, actually go into the account, then copy and paste, blah blah blah, because it does take some time to do something like that. So you can use programs and to make your life easier. But yeah, you can make one post. If you're making a reel, like you should, why don't you have a TikTok account? There's no reason why not. I have like
Even if
over
you're
4,000 followers on TikTok account, and like if I didn't make any of this post, that's 4,000 people that wouldn't. There definitely is like 4,000 different people than my Facebook. So it definitely adds up, and you're getting your message across to more people.
so true. And if you're spending the energy and effort to make that real,
Mhm.
you might as well get traction in different ways. If you
Right.
need to change the music or change something slightly about it, barely, but repurpose it. I think
You
that
don't even have to
that's
change
all
anything.
pretty.
Just throw it up there.
Yeah, just
You know
throw
what I
it
mean?
up.
Just do it. If especially if you're first starting out, like you could, as you get going, progressing, it's like, oh yeah, this is a very common, this is a very trendy music. And yeah, so you can go that route. But for people that are just getting going, like I don't good enough is good enough. Just don't worry about that. Just throw stuff out there. Get it out there. Start putting the message out. Getting people to say, "Hey, Jared, can you buy my house?" is the coolest messages I get.
And they're
Hey, Jared, I
coming to
found,
you.
yeah, they come to me.
Huge.
If you're having a hard time finding like sellers, and it's like, oh man, uh I hate cold calling. I hate cold calling. But when they call me, it's a lot easier when they're asking me for help, when they need like my expertise, or they need like, hey, do you know anyone that can X? Like, oh, I actually do. I actually do know someone that can. Let's talk and see if we can do business. Or, it becomes easier. And now people get frustrated because it doesn't happen quickly.
Yeah.
It can, and there's people that I know that just exploded 10 times faster than me in many ways, but that's okay. That's good for them. That's awesome. I'm gonna go and see what they're doing. I'm gonna copy and paste. You know what I mean? I'm gonna figure things out. That's awesome. Um, but it's not an overnight thing. It's not overnight. So you'll get some traction in your business from the low hanging fruit. People like, oh, you opened up a hair salon or whatever. Yeah, actually, I do need a haircut. And so those are low hanging fruit. So when you first start, you may get some people actually commenting and things like that. But then, and as you're building your following, as you're doing stuff, as you're doing things in other groups, Facebook groups, it's going to start building. You're going to start building awareness. I farm Facebook groups. There are groups specifically where, because I do post in a ton of like, I have hundreds of Facebook's groups I'm a part of,
Mhm.
but there's probably like 3 or 4 that I really spend time in. And so there's specific groups where I'm a member of, and this made me tens of thousands of dollars by being a member of that group.
Wow.
So it's, and when I say farming in that group is like I'm consistently putting content in that group. I'm consistently um res- uh engaging not just on my posts but on other people's posts. So you can engage in other people's posts, and it's just like, you know, using real estate as an example, someone commented in a real estate investing group like, "Hey guys, I've had a hard time finding leads." And you don't have to be the expert here, but like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I had the same challenge. Have you tried this?" And then it starts the conversation. It starts to like, "Hey, like, you know, I haven't done any deals either myself, but my mentor, he told me to do this. You should try that." Or I just learned from a class, you should do this. And they're like, "Whoa, class? Wait, what class you taking? Is it helping?" And it starts that conversation,
Yeah.
you know? That's a good way to, you can really farm an area, a group, and make, do some pretty cool things. So you want to, depending on what you're doing, and you don't want to be salesy in the group, because sometimes the admins don't like that, but you're just providing value, communication, and then take it to the DMs.
Yeah.
Like if they say like, "Hey," if they respond to that, like, "Oh yeah, my mentor, my teacher taught me how to do this. You should try that." Like, "Oh, well, what class? What mentor are you talking about?" And then I would take that conversation to DMs, and then we can have a real conversation. "Oh, well, so why are you trying to get in real estate? What?" You know, and I go into the whole, like, how can we help each other? And that's in the DMs though, so it's not like out and about, and people are like, "Oh, I see. Oh, you're just trying to sell something. You're just trying to be looking for partnerships. You're just trying to do whatever, you know." Like, I'm trying to help people, but yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to make money at the same time.
Yeah. I think that that's the key, is understanding why you're doing what you're doing, not just what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like when you're in this farming mentality, you're planting seeds consistently. And then when the harvest time comes, you're like, I'm going to take this from that group and bring it to a personal level. Could be in a direct messenger, or it
Mhm.
could be you collect their email and you have a consultation for 9 minutes. And then you see if there's a possibility we can do business together. But it sounds like your first priority is, am I helping? Am I providing value? Am I planting the seeds so that I'm top of mind, so that when they have that challenge with their property, or when they're in the desire to go do some real estate, you're top of mind.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Jared, when you are struggling to like get traction with some of your posts, maybe it took a little while to get going, what helped you stay on track and say, I need to be consistent, and I know I'm providing value? What helped you stay on the track? Because I mean, for a couple months, my guess is brand new people, they might not have very many views. It might be like 12 views and they're all friends.
Yeah.
Well, what did you do to stay on track and stay here? Because you've been doing it for a couple years now.
Mhm. Uh, Blocking time helps. Knowing when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it.
Hmm.
So, because here's the thing, people can fall there when you're creating content. You can get into the rabbit hole, and I've found myself in this rabbit hole many times, even now,
Yeah.
where you're trying to create something like, "Oh man, I hate how that's, oh man, that my hair is all messed up. I told you I gotta redo this thing," or, "Oh man, I gotta do that, da da da." Um, yeah, it's. I think it's important for people to block off time specific, and have a hard stop.
Yes, that's tough. That's tough for me at times. Saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, hard
Oh,
stop. It's
100%.
done. Just ship it. Just get her done."
And you have to ask yourself, like, so you know your weaknesses better than I will ever know. I
Absolutely.
know my weaknesses better than anyone else. And so if you find yourself like when you're creating content, then you like 2 hours later, "Oh crap, I was just like, I made one reel and then I realized I just scrolled for 45 minutes and for an hour, 20 minutes, whatever. Man, I gotta, oh." So you gotta like have hard stops, timers, potential. It depends on your weaknesses. Maybe that's not a challenge for you, and that's fine. But you know what I mean? You want to be careful on not going into too much, like, I gotta edit this perfectly, or like I don't like how it says. Um, you can literally, you can do a live, for example. So like this,
Hmm.
you can do a live and bring on, so we're real estate here, okay? you can invite someone. So I can ask you to come on to my live like you did here, right?
Yeah.
And like, hey man, I got a live I'm gonna do on Friday at noon. Brigham, can you jump on and talk about some short-term rentals? I know you have a bunch. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So maybe you haven't done anything in real estate at all, but that interests you. So you bring someone on, you just have them like, how'd you get started? Like what? And you just ask them questions, just like you're doing right now. This is a perfect example of what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So you're getting shared credibility. One, you got 30 minutes to an hour of content. Okay. So people are like, oh wow. So even though like if you've never done a single deal, but you're talking to someone does multiple deals a week, then it's like, oh wow, okay. Sally's is with this person that's done this, and like, oh wow, I mean, I know Sally, I'm gonna talk to Sally and see what's going on. Then you can just hit the download button on like Facebook Live, take that hour long, and there's so many software, and there's plenty of software that's for free. Even in CapCut, you can do this. On their website, you can literally just upload the hour long, and they will cut 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2-minute videos for you with captions. So if you're like, I don't know what to do at all, like, okay, you can do one live and create 15 reels like that. And you don't have to be the expert. Just bring someone on that's an expert. Or you could be doing a live, a long form video where you're just talking about your story, talking about, the challenges, talking about this particular deal. Like, oh guys, I almost made a huge mistake. This is what happened. Or I did make a mistake. This is what I did. And you can be just documenting, and maybe that conversation is like 10 minutes, but you can get 3 reels out of there because you upload that 10-minute live that you just did. And now it's like, hey, watch out for this mistake. So you can go really deep when you're making reels and have really good hooks, things like that. But the very beginning, I think you just need to create content and sure the hooks and all the
Yeah.
strategy stuff. I mean, I don't think people should really look at that because it's almost, for some people, it's too much information. And because they're not doing it right, like, well, if I cut up this long form, it's not gonna have any hooks. Oh, then that's not gonna work then. Like, no, screw the hooks. Or anything else that you're reading that has to have like this and this, or like, oh, I can't figure out the caption thing on this app. I better not post it because there's no caption. Who cares? Just post it. Good enough is good enough. It's fine. Like, so don't let that stop people. But that's a good way to create a lot of content really quickly for a busy person, which you can literally, that while you're doing your business kind of thing. Be honest. Like I keep bringing it up, it's just so easy and you can segment it. But blocking time off. Let me back up to the actual point your question, but blocking time off, doing things in batches too helps. So maybe like doing it every single day is just like it's not going to happen. So like, okay, Sunday at 6, put in your calendar, let your family know, hey, I got to do some business at 6 o'clock tonight. Leave me alone. So whether you're doing it in batches, whether it's like a daily thing, I think it's easier to do something daily than it is to do 2 times, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Because if I say I'm gonna make 3, I'm gonna post 3 times a week. That's it. And it's okay if you're doing that. But my only thought is like, if you're doing it every day, it's your ritual. It's part of your day. If it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's like, wait, what's today? Was I supposed to do something today right now? I don't remember. And then you don't make anything. You know what I mean? And you can kind of pinpoint where you missed. And even if you missed a day when you're doing it every day, like that's not the end of the world. That's fine. Just keep on doing it. I mean, there's times where there's been weeks where I've didn't do any posts, whether it's busy or whatever, just get distracted, and that's okay. And start over. I mean, not start over, just go back in it. It doesn't matter.
I think that's wisdom, and it's something that anybody can do. Anyone can literally pull up their phone, hit Facebook Live.
Mhm.
Here's something I'm experiencing right now. Give the behind the scenes and just talk about what you're experiencing.
100%.
And then you're like, hey, this was someone that is very proficient at whatever strategy you want to employ. Like I feel like you are an expert in so many things in real estate that I want to be an expert in. So talking with you, it gives me confidence. It gives the listeners confidence. They're like, oh, he's done. How many real wholesale deals have you done by now? I know it used to be a couple years ago, it was like 50. Now it's probably closer to 100 now.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but we're either approaching or over 100. I don't remember the exact. I don't. I'm not. Not. I don't remember. I don't. I haven't counted. I don't know. A lot.
Right,
Put it that way.
literally dozens and dozens of deals,
Mhm.
and there's patterns of progress you see.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that was wisdom with bringing up the social media strategy is you've done a couple thousand reels now.
Mhm.
You don't have to do them perfectly, and I love that.
No.
It's
Oh,
just ship them, just do them.
yeah. Like if it's trash, it's trash. Okay, that's cool.
You're like, I learned from it. Great. That's
Yeah.
trash. Now don't do it like that again. Let's try another way.
Right. Right. Sometimes I'll still make trash even though I know it's trash. I'll just make it. You know what I mean? It's just get it out there. Just start doing stuff. And most algorithms prefer consistency and reward consistency over like the perfect reel or perfect video or whatever you're doing. So yeah, just make stuff.
I think that's key. And if we can wrap this all up, tie a little bow on it, and say this is the best action step I could give to a brand new person. Tell us the one action step that you would hope that someone takes to go get more value that they can give on social media. Go ahead.
If I had to put in like one or two words or one or two sentences,
Yeah.
just it sounds simple and people it's, it's almost the simplicity is why people don't do it. Just post.
Yeah.
If you take anything out of this, now I did a lot about the farming and how to make small, bigger posts into smaller ones and intrigue posts. All of that stuff is very helpful and you learn over time, either through your own actions or from other people, things like that. But I think people, and this is true with real estate, I've seen so many people that get analysis paralysis, and same with posting. Analysis paralysis. Just post. It doesn't have to be pretty. It could be, I saw this picture. I like this picture. That's a freaking post. Just do something. Start making a post. Start sending things out. This is how powerful this is. So I built my brand 3 years ago to do even remotely close to the number of deals I'm doing now, which I'm doing more now than I was 3 years ago. But to do less deals, let me tell you, I would have to dial 600 numbers a day. I had a dialer. I would like for 2 days, I would do dialers setting appointments up. I would go across, I live in Tooele, so go to Salt Lake, go to Ogden. I go to all these appointments to talk to these sellers. So I would spend hours upon hours upon hours to do a few deals a month.
Mhm.
And so now, because of my following, because of what my brand I built, I have not made a cold call. And like in 2023, I made 5 cold calls maybe, and that was just like trying to help someone out, showing someone how to do it. That was really the deals that I've been getting now. And there was one point in time back in the day when I started making some money, I was putting like $10,000 into marketing for deals. So Facebook ads, things like that. $10,000 a month. That's a so I was putting energy, effort, time to do less what I'm doing now because I built this brand. People will partner with me like, hey Jared, I have this lady. She's actually looking to sell her house. Can you help? I just need help negotiating closing this thing out. Oh, sure, man. Yeah, let's talk to her. And I don't even go to their house. I can't tell you like the last 10 deals I've did, I probably only been inside the house on 2 of them, and those were the flips that I'm doing. The other ones I haven't even walked in. I haven't even physically seen it, but I made money from it because I built this system, built my brand where people are like, hey Jared, I need help. And I'm giving tons of value to these people. They're making money. And like, oh wow. I watched a class about negotiating, but I didn't how you play piece that together. Like, and now they're off and they're doing all sorts of stuff, right? But then they're like, yeah, I got another deal. This other challenge I didn't think about. Can we JV on it? Like, sure. So the vast majority of my deals I'm doing now is from people doing joint ventures with me. And it's because I built that brand and I'm delivering what I'm saying, right? It's just like, let's have a conversation. Let's see. And it's kind of fun when the things that how I negotiate, it's I don't know, it's unique, but it's just different than you think. And so they're like, I can see almost their face, like we're on Zoom, and like they get kind of like confused, and then when we get the deal where the person was like, we're only going to sell at this price. I'm not doing creative financing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. If you don't want to sell this price or doing creative financing, you shouldn't do that. I don't want you to. And like their face is like, don't tell them that, Jared. But they're quiet. And then at the end, we have a contract with seller financing lower than what they said. And so that's fun. But because I built that brand, because I did something. So just post. I know that I knew it's one thing typo in it, but yeah.
Just post. There's hashtag just post.
Yes, just post.
And I think that's the consistency. And what's cool about consistency is you build a habit, you get iterations. And if you wait till tomorrow, it's literally harder. So just post today. You post today, you're like, hey, I posted yesterday. You post again today, like, I posted the last 2 days. And you build confidence. And you get better by just doing it. So just post. There's Jared's key takeaway for that. Now, guys, since you stayed on this long, I actually have a leveling up your social media book that I wrote that's insights for the last year and a half that I took from Brian Fryer, Rob Sperry. Actually, there's some things even from Jared, my friend Dane, a lot of different concepts and ideas of people that have been helping me, just like this call. And I put them into this little ebook, and it's yours for free. So it's just a way that I can interact with you guys more. I'm always trying to do more things with building value. And this is one of the ways that we do it. So Jared, where do people find you on social media so that we can make sure that they know, oh, this is where I can find the funny man of real estate? And that's real, REEL and REAL.
There you go. Yeah. So my Jared Brenchley on Facebook, you can follow me. And same name with Instagram, Jared Brenchley. Just do a search. I'm there. On my TikTok following is funny real estate is my handle. And but you can find all of my links and stuff just from Linktree/Ask Jared, and has all my socials and stuff there.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jared. I really appreciate this.